Hello, everyone. I hope and pray that you're doing well. When we, as a family, lived in Sierra Leone, we would be awoken every morning at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock in the morning. In Kabbalah, the city where we lived, it was predominantly Muslim. And one of the 5 pillars of Islam is prayer. And so the call to prayer was broadcast for everyone to hear at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so we'd awaken to this call to a loudspeaker calling Muslims to prayer. Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest. And in Sierra Leone, Christians, therefore, were pretty dedicated to prayer themselves because they lived in this Muslim context where Muslims were called to prayer at regular intervals. Now, some of the memories of this kind of flooded back to me last week when we were in Quebec City. And what reminded me of this was church bells. Walking around the neighborhood in which we stayed, there was a church whose bells tolled at very regular intervals. And then on the Sunday, we gathered for worship at a church, at the Anglican church there, one of the oldest outside of the British Isles, the oldest cathedral, in fact. And the church bells tolled as a way of calling us to worship. And I really appreciated how those bells were calling both as a welcome, an invitation, and as an invitation to be set apart, to look a little bit different than the society. Because nowhere is the decline of Christianity more obvious in our country, I dare say, than it is in Quebec, where it seems like there is an abandoned church on every street corner. Which is why this public ringing of these bells, being allowed, was so striking to me, right? No pun intended on the striking. It was just so noticeable. The bells tolled as this kind of marker of the Christian faith, and the reverberations of these massive church bells last a long time after the bell's been struck. And maybe that's a bit of a metaphor, right? I mean, I've heard that a lot of the swear words, a lot of the bad words in Quebec are derivative of church words. And certainly that's lamentable. I mean, it's lamentable in English as well. But it's sometimes a bit of a wonder that those words still contain so much power. Maybe it's not surprising, I guess. I mean, I don't have the solution, a nice tidy solution to the secularization that is occurring in our country, right? The decline of the church and the decline seemingly of Christianity. But those church bells resonated such hope within me, right? I've got hope that prayer and worship and simple faith really do matter. And the effects of these things can be felt in Quebec and elsewhere long after sanctuaries have stopped being filled by worshipers. Just a few random things to kind of close off. I was looking up bells in the Bible, didn't find anything exactly, but in 1 Corinthians 13 we read, "If I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have no love, I've become a noisy gong and a clanging cymbal." And so maybe bells can remind us to love God above all and to love our neighbor as ourselves. And even as we, this coming week, move into Holy Week, I found out something that in a number of churches on Good Friday, after a worship service, say on a Good Friday, the church bells will toll 33 times in succession. 33 times, once for each of the years of Jesus' earthly ministry. I like that. And then I also learned that some churches today still ring their bells at 6 a.m., at noon, and then again at 6 p.m. as a reminder to pray the Lord's Prayer. And so we certainly join in praying for God's church and for our country and for the world, that God's will would be done on earth as it most certainly is done in heaven. May the peace of Christ be with you all.